Hi there. My name is Cindy Buteau, and I'm the Director of Business Development with CASIS. And I'm going to introduce two speakers right now who are actively engaged with doing research on the International Space Station. But before doing that, I just want to quickly say that I'm Director of Business Development, and I'm based here in Boston. And the reason why CASIS set up an operation here in Massachusetts is because we recognize that it is a true hotbed or a bed of innovation. And it's here that we can find the cutting edge research that can actually utilize the platform, the International Space Station. So for us, there was a real natural synergy when you're looking at this one-of-a-kind platform, the International Space Station National Lab, looking at an ecosystem like one that exists within Massachusetts, and we believe there is a true synergy. So we commend the leadership of Governor Patrick and of Susan and the Massachusetts Life Science Center to really, to be that innovation center and to actually be that perfect partnership with us to go forward. So now what I'd like to do is introduce Sam Cadena, who is Principal Investigator or Research Investigator for Novartis Institutes for Biomedical Research, and he is actually doing an experiment on station as we speak. So, it's just landed. So Sam, over to you.
Thanks a lot. It's really, really exciting to be here. We at Novartis are very excited to be a part of this whole initiative and these experiments up in the International Space Station. So I am, as Cindy mentioned, I'm from the Novartis Institutes for Biomedical Research, which is a little it's a little bit separate from Novartis in that we focus more on kind of academic type research. And the idea is it's funded, the research is pushed not by the market, but by what is a patient need, what is the highest unmet medical need out there. And so I'm in the musculoskeletal disease group. We focus on any aspect of musculoskeletal disease, from muscle to bone to connective tissue to the nerves that innervate the muscle. So my lab specifically here in Cambridge focuses on muscle and muscle atrophy and different aspects of atrophy. We look at chronic diseases that stimulate muscle loss, such as cancer or COPD. We look at muscle injury and how the muscle regenerates from the muscle has its specific capacity to regenerate from injury. And so we study these different pathways, and we try to understand what is the best way to treat these specific pathways, these molecular pathways that are associated with these conditions that stimulate muscle atrophy. And so we were recently approached by CASIS I'd like to say about 18 months ago, and they asked if we would like to run an experiment on the International Space Station. And our first, we didn't even have to think about it, our first impulse was yes, of course, this is an exciting area of research to be in. One thing we discovered in the lab is that there's several conditions that lead to muscle atrophy, and they're not at all the same. They initiate very distinct molecular cascades in the muscle that all lead to muscle atrophy. And so whether it's aging, whether it's chronic disease, or whether it's weightlessness in space, these are all very different. But understanding each one of these specifically will increase our knowledge overall of muscle atrophy and increases our opportunity to develop treatments to prevent muscle loss here on Earth and maybe possibly up in space as well. So as Cindy mentioned, we had an experiment that went up to the space station earlier this summer. It was a SpaceX 4 launch late September. It was about a 3-week experiment. That experiment has since come down, and we're in the process now of analyzing the samples, which takes some time, but we hope to present some of our data very, very soon, potentially maybe at this meeting in July. So just from the months preceding this experiment, we had a nice collaboration with CASIS. We had a very nice dialogue going on, and I think based on their expertise and their experience in this area of space flight, I think we were able to get the best experiment up into space, and which would ultimately lead to the best results back down here on Earth. So if there's any life science institutes or organizations out there that have been considering research in the space station to determine what microgravity what effect microgravity might have on your own research model, I would encourage you to start a similar dialogue with cases to try to see whether this is indeed a possibility. For me, like I said, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Just a little bit of my own background. I've been doing muscle research for a while, and as a graduate student, all my research was funded by NSBRI. So it was NASA funding, but never in my life did I ever think I could actually send something up into space. So this is, for me, this is truly incredible. And I'm very excited to be a part of it, and Novartis as a whole is very, very excited to be a part of it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brian Talbot. I'm with CASIS, Director of Marketing. And as Cindy mentioned, one of our goals is to is STEM, is really how do we make the space station, how do we create authentic connections with students? And I think I've got the honor today of introducing Montechusett School, Paulo de Diego. They're analyzing their experiment right now from the space station, and they've sent up, I believe it's 6 or 7 different experiments. And this school is a model for engaging students in STEM, and really I'd love to hear from Paula and have her share her story.
Good morning. First, let me start by saying thank you for the invitation to come and share our community's STEM story with you. We are a regional vocational technical school in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. We have about 1,400 students coming from 18 sending towns. Our students are enrolled in 20 different vocational programs. And I've had the honor and the privilege of working with a variety of students from an academic standpoint. And these kids come to our SSE program with truly remarkable gifts and abilities and a different kind of education than students from a traditional high school. So we've had a remarkable journey. Back in January 2011, Monty Tech began a partnership with the National Center for Earth and Space Science Student Spaceflight Experiment Program. That's a mouthful. And students were challenged to design an experiment that would fly on board the final shuttle flight. And a team of students developed a project called the Rate of Lactobacillus acidophilus in Microgravity. There were actually several dental students who recognized a problem with this particular bacteria causing cavities and was curious about the growth rate and the implications for astronauts' oral health on the station. So our community got behind us 100%. Students were excited and inspired, and that kind of began the process for us. In September 2011, we then began another design competition for Mission 1. We launched another experiment on the historic SpaceX Dragon flight, and the next experiment was launched. This one went to the International Space Station, and it was the effect of Arthrobacter on polyethylene decomposition rate in microgravity. Winning students were actually siblings of 2 of the students that had won the first time, so they served as mentors, which was, I thought about what a wonderful team teaching or peer teaching model that those students were able to collaborate with their siblings. We ended up going to Woods Hole Oceanographic to do our analysis, and they let us spend time on the scanning tunneling electron microscope, which was quite amazing for us and a little concerning, where those are extremely expensive, and but the students were taught what to do and were able to analyze their samples. And then the list continues, and there's a rolling slideshow going that shows some of the different experiments that we've had since then. We've had in 2012, 2013, 2 more experiments have flown on the International Space Station. And I have a group of students with me today whose experiment has just touched down a couple weeks ago, and we're in the analysis process with them at UMass Medical, and then we'll take our supernate from that sample and bring it to Tufts. Their experiment is looking at the production of antibiotics from Bacillus subtilis in microgravity. So Ashley Monroe, Stephanie Tivnan, Liza Anderson, and Samantha Bracton were the investigators. Mission 7 is underway. We just finished the design process, and we've selected our top 3 finalists. Those will then go on to a national review panel where students get a chance to get feedback from researchers and scientists across the country. They're able to take that feedback and apply it to this technical writing that they've been asked to do. So what does all of this mean for us? For me, this means ordinary vocational students are being asked and taking a challenge to do amazing and extraordinary things. Since the beginning of our program, we've engaged over 2,000 students in actually designing proposals and experiments. We've processed more than 1,000 mission patches that have, the artwork has flown with our experiments. We've worked with researchers from MIT, from Woods Hole, from UMass Medical, from Tufts, and from OPK Biotech Company. Students have presented their findings at a national convention in Washington, D.C. at the Smithsonian. Our goal is to dramatically increase student interest and preparation for careers in STEM fields. Students have been and need to continue to be empowered by asking authentic questions about the world in which they live. This is the only way we're going to train up and inspire a next generation of scientists, engineers, and researchers. Our students need to be given opportunities to use their math and science skills and to develop and analyze experiments. They need to be engaged and experience competition for resources and understand the importance of the communication skills they've been learning to master. Students at Monty Tech have had an additional asset from which to draw. They've been gaining vocational technical training and winning many of those winning proposals were based off of career interest. This provides a unique launching perspective for the questions and the connections these students may ask due to their experiences and their educational understanding. They've benefited from the opportunity to integrate all of their academic and vocational education experiences. It's been a privilege and a blessing to me to play a role in encouraging, teaching, coaching, mentoring, and inspiring these young men and women to set and reach unimaginable goals for high school students. Our SSCEP program continues to grow. It's now critical to us to build a sustainable future so that our students can follow a trail blazed before them and continue to reach for the stars. I'd like to extend a sincere thank you to CASIS for your generous sponsorship towards the STEM initiative, and we look forward to a continued partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to reiterate what an honor it is to be asked to participate in such a great event of the future of science in this great Commonwealth. And I wanted to say, Governor, that you don't have to go to Chile to see the space station. I was going to look online, but there are many websites to go. You tell them where you are. You say Cambridge or Boston or Fitchburg, and it will tell you when and where to look in the sky to find the International Space Station flying by. You should know that right now there's 3 people in that thing as it flies overhead, and they're probably looking down at you. Chile is a fantastic place to see when you're in the space station, but we always like to look down and see our familiar places like Boston and our hometown. So you should remember that if you're an American, that's your tax dollars at work, so go take a look at it, check up on it, and make sure you're up to date with what's going on. Talking about space is great, but holding something that went to space is even more special. So I've got some presentations to make. So Governor Patrick. Governor, this is a patch that represents the first suite of scientific experiments that was flown for CASIS, the Advancing Research Knowledge 1 suite, and this went up to the space station, went around the world a couple million miles, wow. And to honor such a great event, like kicking off this cooperative event, I'd like to present this to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really nice. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's
all
great.
Right. And Dr. Mullis, if I pronounce that correctly, is that right? I'd like to present you the same. Thank you for your work on the board with CASIS. Thank you for hosting us here at the museum. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And Sue, I'd like to present you the final.
That's great.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
This hasn't traveled this far.
We told you that launch. I sent them a message saying, you guys are microgravity.
Yeah, there we go. How many people can say that, right?
Not many.
Very cool. Are you all in the same grade?
Yes, we're all seniors.
All seniors, big shots. What happens next year? You know?
College.
Are you at the, you're waiting on that? You know?